Am I the antagonist because I'm building a fence? My wife and I moved into a nicer neighborhood in a big city suburb about 5 years ago. The majority of the residents in this neighborhood are retired. We have 4 adjacent properties, and for the most part, everyone gets along well. However, one of our neighbors, Don and Tanya, who live behind us, have not been very friendly towards us except for one occasion. To provide some context, the properties on our street have 1/2-acre lots, whereas the properties behind us have smaller lots of about 6,000 square feet, which includes their houses, leaving them with limited yard space. We specifically chose this street because it has unusually large lots, as we wanted ample space for our dogs to play and our kids to enjoy. Shortly after we moved in, Don and Tanya bought a new patio set and offered us their old one. While it was a kind gesture, we politely declined as we didn't have space to store it during harsh winters, and it didn't match our style. Since then, our relationship with them has soured. They have complained about the direction I mow my lawn, provided false information about the property line, claimed our trees were overgrown, despite them being smaller than most in the neighborhood, and even raked their leaves onto our property. I spend hours collecting leaves in the fall, whereas Don rarely needs to because of his small yard. They also threatened to sue our next-door neighbor Dale over a tree on his property. During one of our increasingly heated exchanges, I mentioned to Don and Tanya that I plan to put up a fence, and we haven't really spoken since. Although we originally intended to start building the fence right away, we faced financial difficulties due to the pandemic and subsequent inflation. Now that we are back to full income and have the means, I have started the process of constructing the fence. I have followed all the necessary regulations set by the municipality. I had the underground lines marked by utility companies, hired a surveyor in August, although it took them 6 weeks to stake the property, and began digging the post holes while awaiting final approvals, 3 more weeks for the survey map and 3 more weeks for the city to approve the permit. The posts were in the ground but not cemented when I unexpectedly received a visit from the building inspector. Although I suspect Don filed the complaint, I don't plan to request the information to confirm. I showed the inspector that I hadn't built anything. I had only dug holes within the property lines. The inspector informed me that I had been following all the correct procedures and advised me to file for the permit as soon as the survey map arrives. He also reassured me not to stop the construction, or I won't finish before the ground freezes. Dale, who is pleased to be getting a new fence at no cost, overheard Don and Tanya complaining about the fence and informed me, "It is evident that they are upset since they believe the fence will diminish their yard space. However, we believe their complaints about the fence actually validate our decision to build it." Am I the antagonist in this situation? You and your wife moved into the neighborhood with the intention of giving your dogs and children more space to play, which is a completely reasonable decision. Despite declining their patio set offer, you have been respectful towards Don and Tanya. However, they have consistently been unneighborly, complaining about your lawn, lying about the property lines, and even raking leaves onto your property. It seems like they have been causing unnecessary conflicts with you and your neighbors, as evidenced by their threats to sue Dale over a tree. The decision to put up a fence is within your rights, and you have followed all the appropriate regulations and procedures, even investing money into the process. When the building inspector visited, it was confirmed that you were not in violation of any rules. Don and Tanya's complaints about the fence seem to be rooted in their dissatisfaction with their perceived reduction in yard space, which is not your responsibility. Overall, you have been a reasonable and considerate neighbor, while Don and Tanya have been consistently difficult. Building the fence is well within your rights, and you have made all the necessary preparations. Therefore, you are not the asshole in this situation. Am I the antagonist for defending my family against claims of fat phobia and ableism? I am a 21-year-old female university student in the United States. As our last year of university approaches and we will all be going our separate ways in May, my close group of friends and I have decided to take a trip for our spring break. I have Greek heritage, and my uncle happens to own a small hotel near Athens. It is a 3-story hotel with small rooms, more suited for budget-friendly traveling. Those who have visited smaller hotels in Europe would understand the type of accommodations I'm referring to, but I'm not sure of the exact English translation. I spoke to my uncle, who kindly invited my friends and me to stay in Athens for the week, free of charge for our stay. We would only need to cover our flights and activities. Initially, it was just me and 3 other girls that I invited, and we were all extremely excited and even booked our tickets over the summer. However, in the past 3 months, we have become friends with 2 other girls who have gradually become part of our group. I extended the invitation to them as well, with one of them being Harper, a 22-year-old female. Initially, Harper seemed enthusiastic about the trip and liked the idea of not having to pay for a hotel. However, when I showed her pictures of my uncle's hotel, she started to behave in a passive-aggressive manner towards me. These types of hotels typically have a lot of stairs to reach the rooms, and given that the location of this hotel is quite hilly, there is a fair amount of walking required. The elevator is very small, fitting only one standard-sized person, and is mainly used for luggage. Harper is plus-sized and experiences chronic pain, so she mentioned that she would not be able to take the stairs as she cannot fit in the elevator. Later, another friend informed me that Harper has been talking behind my back, calling me names, and suggesting that I only invited her to embarrass her. She believes I am thoughtless for planning a trip with subpar accommodations. I immediately called her to question why she feels this way about me, and she laid blame on my uncle's business, stating that the inaccessible nature of the hotel is a result of fat phobia and ableism. I attempted to explain that these types of hotels feature old architecture and are common in European travel, particularly in Greece. However, she went on to say that I shouldn't be defending such a disgusting culture if that is the norm. I'm honestly unsure about how to proceed, and I'm considering the possibility of a cultural misunderstanding. Some of my friends are suggesting that I apologize and uninvite her altogether if she continues to have such an issue with it. Am I the asshole? You invited Harper to join your spring break trip and generously offered her the opportunity to stay for free at your uncle's small hotel near Athens. It's unfortunate that Harper reacted negatively once she saw pictures of the hotel and began talking behind your back, making derogatory comments about you and the hotel. It's important to note that the accommodations your uncle provided are standard for smaller European hotels, and it seems like there may be a cultural misunderstanding regarding the accessibility of the place. You explained the situation to Harper, but she continued to label it as fat phobia and ableism, which is unfair. Your friends are suggesting disinviting Harper, and that might be a reasonable solution if she continues to criticize you and your cultural background. However, it might be worth having another conversation with her to try to address the misunderstanding and see if any compromise can be reached. In any case, you extended a kind invitation, and Harper's reaction and name-calling are unwarranted, so you're not in the wrong here. Am I the antagonist for kicking my 72-year-old mother-in-law out of the house at night because she threw away my things? I, a 36-year-old female, live with my 41-year-old husband. I have a decent relationship with my mother-in-law. Compared to the horror stories I hear from friends, she's quite sweet and warm. However, she can be a bit over-controlling or overprotective. I'm not exactly sure of the right word, but she has strong opinions and lacks boundaries. For instance, when she stays at our house, she completely takes over the kitchen and insists on cooking all our meals. While she cooks wonderfully, she refuses to let me assist her and organizes everything in the wrong places, claiming that her way is more logical. Despite these mild annoyances, I genuinely like my mother-in-law, and her visits are usually limited to holidays. So I tolerate these behaviors. Currently, I'm pregnant with our little girl, due in a few months. It's a miracle because I never thought it would happen, especially at this stage. But we got lucky. When my mother-in-law found out, she became super excited and offered to come over and help us prepare for the baby. She even suggested staying for about 6 months to assist us since both my husband and I work long hours and handling the baby would be challenging. She's emotionally invested in this, as she sees herself as part of our family. A few days ago, she arrived, settled in, and immediately started cleaning. I have a fondness for collecting items from garage sales, such as little sculptures, books, and baskets, things that many people would consider junk. Our house may be a bit cluttered, but it's still reasonably tidy and doesn't resemble that of a hoarder. Conversely, my mother-in-law prefers everything to be spotlessly clean. Yesterday, when I returned from work, I found the house in chaos. She had gone through my cabinets, removing everything she deemed junk, and had apparently made several trips to donate it all before I got home. I was furious and confronted her about it. I asked why she would do such a thing. Her response was that the house needed to be tidy for the baby and that my cluttered house posed a danger to the baby. She then attempted to walk out the door with another large bag of my belongings. I couldn't contain my anger anymore and told her to leave immediately. She was shocked that I was serious and claimed she had nowhere to go, despite it being only around 9:30 p.m. I promptly booked her a hotel room and arranged for a taxi. About an hour later, my husband came home. When I told him what had happened, he became furious with me. He believes I disrespected his mother and showed ingratitude for everything she's been trying to do for us. It's understandable that you may be frustrated with your over-controlling mother-in-law's actions. While it is kind of her to offer help and support during your pregnancy, it doesn't excuse her from disrespecting your boundaries and making decisions without your consent. It's reasonable to feel upset about your personal items being discarded without your permission and to expect some level of respect from your own home. Your husband should understand your perspective and address the issue with his mother, rather than dismissing your feelings. Am I the antagonist for not allowing my cousin to stay in my room? This is a throwaway. I am a 24-year-old female and 4 of my friends, all aged 23, 24, are joining my family on a cruise. We managed to take advantage of a group discount and decided to have our first postgraduate real job vacation together on the cruise. We treated ourselves a little and booked 2 adjoining balcony suites so that we have our own space. We have also booked our own excursions. Although I love my family, I made it clear that we won't be spending every waking moment with them. During a visit to my grandma's house last Sunday, one of my older cousins asked me about our reservation, and I explained it to her. She then suggested that her daughter Jules, not her real name, who is 20 years old and has physical disabilities that make it impossible for her to live independently, could stay with me and the girls. Jules apparently didn't want to be stuck with her parents for the trip. Later, I overheard my older cousin and Jules discussing how Jules planned to leave her parents and siblings and stay in my room. Jules's disability has never been an issue for me, but we simply grew up in different areas, attended different schools, and have different friend groups. Additionally, I'm older than her, and she can be a bit immature. Jules's brother then excitedly announced in the kitchen that he's glad he won't have to share a bed with her on the trip because she'll be staying with me. Jules's mom even mentioned that she would give me Jules's stuff for our room when we get ready to board the boat. However, I made it clear that Jules wasn't staying with me. This led the cousin who initially suggested it to accuse me of intentionally excluding Jules. They called me selfish and said I should have asked to room with Jules instead of my friends. I reminded them that they knew my plans from the start. To my shock, my grandma told me that if I couldn't look after my cousin and ensure she has a good time, then I shouldn't come on the trip at all. I was taken aback because this was never the plan. There was no way I could ask my friends to back out. My aunt then chimed in, saying that there was no choice and Jules would stay with me, while my friend could sleep in the other room. According to her, Jules shouldn't miss out on a girl's trip with people her age just because I didn't prioritize my family. At this point, I was furious. I called Jules into the room and explained to her and everyone present that she couldn't stay in my room. I apologized and said that my friend had already paid her share and we had made plans. I suggested that we could hang out when we both had free time, but she couldn't stay with me. Jules started crying and left. Then my grandma asked me to leave. It has been a week now and the family group chat has been silent. I've been receiving texts telling me that I was wrong. Am I the asshole for not letting Jules stay with me? You made your plans and reservations with your friends, and it was never part of the plan for your cousin to stay with you. It's unfair for your family to expect you to change your arrangements at the last minute. Your friend paid for her share of the room and it wouldn't be fair to ask her to give it up for your cousin. Furthermore, it's not your responsibility to prioritize your family's desires over your own personal plans. It's important to set boundaries and communicate your expectations clearly. You handled the situation appropriately by explaining your reasoning to your family. Am I the antagonist for not including my friend's wife in my wedding? I recently got engaged to my boyfriend of 2 years and I couldn't be happier. He truly is the love of my life and I can't wait to marry him. Ever since I was a teenager, I knew I wanted a small bridal party, which means just my 2 sisters as my matron of honor and bridesmaid. But I also wanted my close friends to be a part of my day. That's why I'm having a blue crew. Basically, my close friends are going to be my something blue, so that way they can be a memorable and important part of the day. They will also be invited to all of the pre-wedding festivities like the engagement party, bridal shower, bachelorette party, and rehearsal dinner. I have already asked my 3 best girlfriends with a small gift box that included the shade of blue I would like for them to wear, a beer koozie that says Blue Crew, a blue silk robe to get ready in, and a handwritten note telling them how much I love them and how much their friendship means to me. Over the weekend, I asked the final 2 people, my best male friends, let's call them B and G, to also be in the blue crew. Their boxes included basically the same things except no robe, and I gifted them both ties and suspenders to wear on the day of my wedding. They both happily accepted, and that's when B's wife, let's call her J, asked where her gift box was. For context, I've been friends with B for nearly 5 years, and he started dating J a year into our friendship. J and I were really close for the first 2 years of their relationship, but have since had a falling out. Basically, she made it clear to me that she wasn't interested in being as close and that I should stop forcing similarities between us. All of that took me by surprise, but I have since accepted it and moved on. I'm still polite in group settings, but we don't hang out one-on-one like we used to. I was also a part of their wedding as a groomsman. I told her that I didn't have one for her, and she then asked what shade of blue she should get her dress in. I was taken aback by her question and told her that she doesn't have to wear blue to the wedding because she wasn't included in the blue crew. She just let out an awkward "oh" before going quiet. I realized that my delivery was probably a little harsher than necessary and told her that she's still invited to the pre-wedding parties and the wedding itself, but she just doesn't have to wear blue. She shrugged it off in the moment, but things were obviously tense and they left shortly after. I've since received texts from both J and B saying that I'm being an asshole for only asking B and not including J since they're married and I was in their wedding. Both G and my fiancé say that I didn't do anything wrong and I have the right to include or not include anyone I want since it's my wedding. But as much as I want to believe them, I can't help but wonder if I should just include her to avoid any future drama. So am I the asshole? You have the right to choose who you want in your bridal party, and it's clear that you have a close bond with your friends in the blue crew. You don't owe an explanation or inclusion to someone you're not close with, even if they are married to one of your friends. It's also worth noting that it was J who distanced herself from you, not the other way around. While it's understandable that J may feel left out, you did extend an invitation for her to attend the pre-wedding events and the wedding itself, which is a significant gesture. You handled the situation appropriately by trying to clarify and offer an explanation after your initial response. Ultimately, it's your wedding, and you should surround yourself with the people who make you happiest. Don't let guilt and pressure persuade you into making a decision that you're not comfortable with. Would I be the antagonist if I say she ruined my birthday? I feel like my girlfriend ruined my birthday this year, but maybe I'm overreacting. I'd said for about a month that there was this one specific show I wanted to go to that happened on my birthday in our city. She knew I wanted to go to this show, and she said that because it's my birthday, she would buy the tickets. On the night before my birthday, I asked her, "Hey, what row are we for tomorrow?" And she said, "Oh shit, I haven't booked them yet." She immediately pulled out her phone, and a few minutes later sheepishly told me it looks like they're sold out. I'll call them tomorrow and see what I can do. Then she rolled away from me, and her was silent until she fell asleep. We have a tradition of getting up early to decorate the house for each other's birthdays before they wake up. It's cheesy since it's just the two of us, but it's sweet, and I've come to look forward to giving and receiving it. Well, tomorrow comes and I wake up at 9 o'clock. She knew I'd be getting up then. To find her sound asleep next to me. More than an hour later, she gets up. She says, "Oh no, I woke up so late, I didn't mean to get up so late." She's a chronic oversleeper. I'm doing yoga in the living room while she blows up like 5 balloons and sticks a few sad pieces of crepe paper on the ceiling. It felt so embarrassing and stupid to be there while she hurried around sheepishly putting up the saddest birthday decorations I've ever seen. I went out to get some McDonald's breakfast for us. Then I asked her if she was able to get our tickets. She said I called them, but they were really rude to me. Then she went out to go buy a cake for me. While she was out, I guess she also booked tickets for a different show. She didn't ask me, and this new show didn't have the one thing that made me pick the original show to begin with, which she knew. Well, we go to the show she picked, and she spends the whole ride there talking about how it's actually better than the one I picked. She also booked herself a trip with the homies that left the following day. She was pretty quiet the whole event. When I asked her what was wrong, she said she was stressed about her vacation trip the next day. When we get home, she gives me my gifts. I love a nice gift, and so I did truly appreciate them. If there was anything that disappointed me, it was that they were all off my Amazon cart. Not even a wish list. She actually just took my phone 3 days before my birthday and looked through my Amazon app. But they were all things I wanted, obviously, and I appreciated that through her, I now had them. Anyways, it's been a couple of weeks now, and I kinda can't stop thinking about what an awful birthday I had. I just felt like a last thought. So since I haven't gotten over it, I figure I should either get over it or bring it up with her. Would I be the asshole if I tell her she kind of ruined my birthday and hurt my feelings? It sounds like your girlfriend made several poor choices that led to a disappointing birthday experience for you. She had a month to purchase the tickets for the show you wanted to go to and failed to do so, which was inconsiderate considering it was your birthday. Additionally, she didn't put much effort into decorating the house and seemed to have prioritized her own sleep over your birthday tradition. Furthermore, she booked tickets for a different show without consulting you and spent the ride talking about how it was better, which made you feel invalidated. Finally, she gave you gifts that were all items from your Amazon cart, indicating she didn't put much thought into the gifts. It is completely valid for you to feel hurt and disappointed by these actions. Communication is key in relationships, and expressing your feelings to your girlfriend is important for resolving conflicts and improving the relationship. Explain to her how her actions made you feel, including feeling like an afterthought on your birthday. Having an open and honest conversation can help both of you understand each other's perspectives and work towards finding a resolution. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.